Well, it's John. I mean, when I got the script, it said John Carney is directing this. I read it immediately, and I love his films and have wanted to work with him for a while. And so I read it. I loved the script. It was a no-brainer, and it was also something that I foresaw as being challenging and fun and a unique experience. And it's shot in Dublin, which, I mean, who doesn't want to come here for a few months and work?
And John, what was it about Paul that made him the perfect Rick Power?
The fact that he said yes. I mean, Paul Rudd we've been watching him for 20, like my family are obsessed by Paul Rudd. So the second I heard his name, I was like, yes. Like, it was just, and then on top of that, we started zooming, and it was like the music that he's into and obscure 80s bands that I thought I only knew. He's like finishing the sentence of like, do you like Level 42, the song, The Chinese Way? I was like, the Chinese Way by Level 4, like just mad stuff, just really interesting connections. And also the fact that there's, Paul's got Eddie Vedder, rock star, Bono vibes about him when you hang out with him.
I'm very different than in this interview.
He could just as easily step into a rock star, and movie stars, rock stars, there's a lot in common.
I'm sure. And John, your projects revolve a lot around music and that connection that we have to particular songs or artists. And I wonder if you could tell me what it is that you love about exploring this relationship on film.
Yeah, I think it's probably to do with music being there at every nice juncture of my short life so far. All of the nice things that happened, there was music playing. Like, if I think about it, back in the 80s, just every person I met, there was a soundtrack going on at all of the nice, and I don't know whether it was the music that led me to make a nice decision or the right decision at the time, or whether it was the reverse of that. But those highs that I can remember always had a soundtrack, and I'm trying to relive them in my movies now.
And Dublin has such a rich musical heritage. Paul, did you get to experience any of that when you were filming there?
Well, we saw Stephen Wilson Jr., who's actually not even from here. That was about the only live music we really, I got to see. I've seen many bands here before, and this was not the only time I've been here, so no, not this go round, no.
But we met Bono and hung out with him, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's not so bad. That's a pretty good.
He's a pretty good musician.
That's a pretty good take. Okay, do you have any favorite Irish phrases or lingo that you kind of adopted into your everyday?
That I adopted and used? No, I mean, the Irish always say thanks a mill, which is a great. I think I've caught myself saying that, and not in a way of trying to sound Irish. It just, when you're here, it sometimes just comes out. Thanks a mill.
That is very Irish, actually. Thanks a mill.
It is. I always find myself saying, "Oh, he's got great crack."
Yeah, cracks in yeah.
John, what's your favorite things about filming in Ireland?
I think that I'm home and close to the family, and all of the things that my comfort zones. And I feel like it's nice to be a filmmaker that doesn't take filmmaking too seriously, so that it completely overshadows your life. I'm not crazy when that happens, so I like to be able to go home, see the kids, be a dad, empty the dishwasher, then have my wife refill it then again according to the way she likes to fill the dishwasher, be a guy, and then go in and make a film in the morning, and not, make sure that the life overlaps a little bit like that with the job. So making films in Ireland is perfect for me, because the films are just an extension of what I'm doing anyway here.
Oh, that's lovely. And I have to ask about Nick Jonas now. So, Paul, were you nervous to do a duet with him? Because you sing not just any song, you sing Stevie Wonder together.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't know if I was really particularly nervous. any more than I would be with anyone else, but I not really. I was more excited about filming the scene, and I just figured it would be kind of funny and hilarious that I was singing a Stevie Wonder song with Nick Jonas. Taking everything out of the film, just like, you know what, life is strange.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of the film was towards the end. You get into a little plunge pool or hot tub with him, and you're fully clothed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Was he like fun on set?
Was Nick fun on set? Yeah, I really liked working with Nick. Nick and I got on really well. We didn't know each other before this, but it was, and you know, the scenes where we were kind of meeting and playing music together, and those are the first things that we shot. So it was a great experience, and he's a really interesting guy and very in his head and kind of keeps to himself, but really cares about all of this and is really talented. And I really enjoyed working with him. It was fun. We had a good time. Except sitting together in a little hot tub. That was just
with your clothes.
Drenched. That all night in wet clothes. That's not fun.
Your first scenes together, when you were like tinkering away on instruments and playing music together, was any of that improvised, or was that quite structured? Because it came across like quite organically.
I mean, it was kind of, I think we tweaked it a little bit, but I mean, I think the song you had it. You had the music.
Yeah. It was kind of a mix, actually. But like, from my perspective, is the second that Paul and Nick met, and you kind of don't know really how it'll be, and you can't guarantee that there's going to be a vibe or chemistry or whatever, either platonic or romantic or whatever movie you're doing. When you put the two actors together, you're kind of like, oh Jesus, and then sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't, and so they were very natural together. So I think there was quite a bit of my just saying, just make this next scene up a little bit, and I think I'd throw in some lines off camera, but they were they just got on well, and there was a good vibe between them, and that's palpable on camera.
And sometimes I think sitting at the piano and do that stuff, there was a lot of kind of just riffing around on that part.
Yeah.
John, when I was watching the film, I wrote down some of the dialogue that I loved, and one of the lines was, "You seemed real, but you were just out of context." That's so great. When you're writing, do you have moments where you kind of step back and you go, I think I've just nailed that?
Yeah, that was a good line, but it was more about, I think I've met a lot of people, and, you know, when you meet, I don't know, it's interesting. Yeah, it's like, when do you really truly know a person? Is it when they're in their own comfort zone or whatever? But it certainly nailed the disappointment that Rick had for that character, because he's not wrong about the Nick Jonas character all the way along. He's saying he's a good guy. I know if I can get back to that night, I know he's a good guy. And the truth of it is, I think in our film is that he is a good guy, but he was out of context. And actually the real person, that your actions are who you are. And you can say, that wasn't me, or I want to be better. But what you do is how you're evaluated in the real world. And I think it's a shocking revelation for Paul's character in the film to go, you know what, I was wrong about you. You weren't actually, you weren't really the guy I thought you were. That's kind of I'm glad you like that line. That's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey!